Hey everyone, Carmine Dinisco here with the Launch Network. We are ramping up some awesome shows on Made in America, Made in the USA with the man himself. We're lucky to catch him, dude. He is all over the airways. He's ramping up his shows. He's ramping up for the Super Potty Trainer. What's happening, Chris? What's going on, man? I think he's
Hey,
freezing up.
Carmine,
His
good to see you,
internet's
man. We got a really cool guest today. One of my favorites. Yeah, so don't forget, right? Shark Tank, May 21st, 8 p.m. Be there. See if the sharks take a bite.
Hey, Chris, man, I've heard you on the radio. You're on TV. How you getting all this, dude? How you making time?
Yeah, I'm not going to kid you, man. I'm trying to get ready for the whole airing as well, right? So getting the plants ready, product. It's been busy. I just completed. It was pretty cool. I did an interview in my hometown in Waterbury, Connecticut. That'll air next Thursday in Connecticut. So Connecticut will get it, New Hampshire, Mass, I think parts of New Jersey. So it was pretty fun to be, back in my hometown doing an interview. Then I'm going to be in New Hampshire next week for the airing, and I've got some interviews scheduled with the two largest radio stations in town, WZID and Rock 101. So having some fun, but it's been
That's
busy,
awesome.
really busy.
That's awesome. Don't tell anybody where the party's going to be, but that's awesome. You're going to be back up there at the manufacturing plant. Dude, you must be ramping that up.
Yeah, we are. We're getting more than anything. We can build pretty quick, right? So we don't have to hold inventory. We talked about that in quite a few of our Made in America episodes. But the work in process I have to have ready. So if the orders ramp up, then I can just build, assemble, and ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're ready. We are ready to go, baby.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's not waste too much time because we got a pretty awesome guest today, right?
Yeah, we sure do. And I'm gonna say his name so you don't screw it up.
Oh.
My man Jim Trocchio, not Trocchio, Trocchio, and I'm probably screwing that up, but no. Jim is the man. If you don't know who he is, I'll just give you a quick overview. This dude takes the most amazing photos. I'm not kidding when I say this. I didn't know him right before he was taking these photos. I found him after being in some of the Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20 concerts, but he takes amazing, unbelievable photos, so much that Brandy selected him to be in our wedding. So I'm so fortunate he's going to be our photographer in our wedding. So welcome to the show, Jim.
Man, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Going
pretty
good.
Stoked about it,
Yeah, I tell you, man. He's on all kinds of social media platforms. You see him hanging out with rock stars and hockey players and doing his own thing with photography in his hometown. It is just that's what caught my eye, honestly. I actually was sitting next to Jim at a Rob Thomas concert in Atlanta. I'm telling you, it was the most humidity and the hottest night I've ever been part of at a concert. And I didn't really even know Jim at the time. And now we become friends. And man, I'm telling you, his work is unbelievable. So Jim, talk about you a little bit. How did this all start?
So basically it was just really crazy. It was, I was taking care of my aunt who at the time had Parkinson's. This is like 2014, something like that. And I was taking care of her and, just kind of like, it was getting to be a lot to deal with. And she was like, she's like, Jim, I need to like help you out, like with a hobby or something, she's like, go buy a camera. Cause she knew I liked it. So basically I went and got this camera at the local camera shop. Didn't know what I was doing. Was going around taking pictures of like power lines and like flowers and like just goofy stuff, just trying to figure everything out, And once I got kind of a little bit into it and like figured some stuff out and watched a bunch of YouTube and all that, I was like, well, how do you take a picture? How are you one of those guys at the baseball game with the camera or like, whatever. So long story short, I knew my buddy that I played hockey with worked for the local minor league team. And I wrote him and I was like, dude, how's somebody get a photo pass to that stuff? Cause when you don't know anything or know anybody, you really have no idea who to even reach out to or let alone like what to do. And he was like, just come down. I'll have a photo pass waiting for you. I was like, what? And he was a dude that just worked in the press box, which is like the exact people you need to know to get that kind of access. And, I show up, I get my pass, they say, okay, you're allowed to go here on the field and like next to the dugout and the photo pad. I'm like, holy shit, this is like, this is insane, like the players are right there. And that night I caught the winning home run and they used it on their story, on their their website story. And I was just like, whoa, this is like it had my little name under it. It was a website that probably nobody even looked at. But at the time it was just the biggest thing in the world. So, that kind of got the juices flowing. And, like my aunt passed away, but she got to see like that and it made her so proud. And like, I've done so much since then. It's like just insane compared to that. But like that little thing was just like the coolest thing ever,
Isn't it amazing? Like everyone has a story of what a paradigm shift in their life, right? So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. She gave you a hobby, and
Yeah.
we'll get into all the cool stuff you're doing now a little
For sure,
bit
yeah.
in the show. But man, what a just a cool start. I mean, I think about some of the things that like at age 13, right? I wanted to be an engineer, and I stayed in that field my whole career essentially. Like you make these decisions, you don't even realize what you're doing,
Yeah.
because you love it.
For
Right?
sure. Yeah.
And now you're taking these cool photos and you knew the right person. That's also very important, I think. Right?
Yeah.
That right connection.
Yeah. And like, and kind of the same thing happened like after that baseball game, and like kind of showing that like, wow, I can like semi do this, or I can maybe do this somehow. Then I got to the idea of thinking like, well, how are you one of those people that takes pictures of your favorite band? Or like, how are they, in the front with the camera? Like, how do you do that? And I was just like, that'd be the coolest thing in the world. So I can tell this little story if you want. I mean, that got me into the concert world.
Yeah.
If you guys want.
Yeah, please. Because that's
So,
kind of an aha moment, right? I mean,
oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of the way I think. Like, how can I get to the next level? And you're doing that. That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, so this is like 2015. Me and my girlfriend at the time are going to a concert. It's one of our favorite bands, Newfound Glory, which is like a punk band, a pop punk band. But anyways, I wrote them a message on Facebook saying, hey guys, can I have a photo pass? Thinking that would actually work. And of course it didn't work. But the band, the band that was on tour with them as like a support was a band called Turnstile. And they're like more like a hardcore band. But I wrote them the same message. I just said basically it would be the coolest thing in the world to have a photo pass for the show. Like, like I have no connections. I don't know anybody. If there's any way you guys can help me, it'd be the coolest thing in the world. And they wrote me back a message saying, you'll have a photo pass and a ticket waiting for you. Like just that little like act of kindness, got me into the show where like, these guys that I've been seeing my whole life play shows, I was right in front now, like photographing them. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I was like freaking out and I was scared, but like, it was just like, holy, this is the coolest thing ever, and, that basically got that little, their bassist, what the heck's his name? Franz. He's just he runs their Facebook. He's just, he was decided to be nice to a total stranger and just help him out. And that kind of got the idea that, oh, I can do this. I can like get into these things and, so on. And, it's just.
But I tell you, Jim, that is such a cool story. Carmine, I would talk about like my opportunity on Good Morning America started almost the same way. I didn't want to do landscaping. I went to Manhattan. I told Brandy before we leave, I want to go to the set. I went to the set. Jillian, one of the producers at the time, started talking to me. She asked me if I wanted to be on TV. Next thing I know, I'm on with Ginger Z, and then we became friends. And now I've been on 5 times, a national commercial. I've been in Shark Tank, Good Morning America. But it happened exactly how you described it.
Yeah.
That one opportunity.
Yeah. Where like basically, I mean, it's just crazy, like I know the process now of like, what you need to get in, all that stuff. But like at the time, I really had no idea. I had nothing, no contacts, no nothing. It's just a shot in the dark. It was a Facebook message. I mean, think about how many Facebook messages you get and you don't even respond to them, or like, you just, let alone if you're in a band that gets like 50 a day, but this guy was super nice. And, I went up to him at the show. I was like, dude, thanks so much. Like, I really appreciate it. It was super nice. And then like 2 years later, I was like, I wrote him a message on Facebook. I was like, dude, because of that little like act of kindness and generosity that you showed me, like it's been 2 years and I've been like published in like 10 magazines. I've like worked with my favorite bands. Like I'm like getting like all this really cool opportunity. And I just wanted to say thank you. And he was like, that's the coolest thing in the world. So it was really cool. It was,
and those kind of people you always remember because they gave you that.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about
1,000%. So you went from knowing nothing, right?
Yeah.
To now, obviously, the pictures. I don't want to go too
I
far.
still know nothing. I
No,
promise.
I'm not.
People
I'm
just
not
think
gonna
I
argue
do.
with you on that.
It's all an illusion. I promise.
Yeah, it's
People
definitely
are
not
like,
an illusion. I'm
like
seeing what you're taking. It's not an illusion.
people ask me if I'm a professional photographer, and I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of point the camera, and it
I
looks
can't
cool
even imagine
sometimes.
you not being a professional photographer now. And
Yeah.
because some of the stuff you take, and it's not just the way you take it, it's the moment that you capture. And I'm sure
Oh,
it has a lot to do with it, right? So how did you go
yeah.
from really not knowing to now 2 years later, now really now getting noticed? You're getting in magazines, you're starting to hang out with some big celebrities, you're getting into hockey
Yeah.
games, rock star concerts, all
Yeah.
that stuff. How did that happen?
Like so once, it was kind of like a drug. It was like I got that access at first, and then I was like, wow, I have to like keep this momentum going or something. And but the thing with the concert world is like if you don't have a publication or if you don't have a contact, it's really hard to like get those photo passes unless you know somebody. If you know somebody, it's way easier. But if you don't know anybody and you're just asking for photo passes to a concert, it's really hard. But anyway, so I got tied into this local Facebook group that like the lady that ran it was like a total wacko, but it was access. So like I kind of put up with it. But I knew I didn't want to really be associated with it, but like I was getting into the concerts for free and I got a photo pass with it. So like, you know, that's like a whole podcast on this thing. But anyways, so basically, I got this access where like, I was getting into the shows, and then I met the Live Nation guy that ran the venue, and he's a super nice dude. I'm still friends with him now. And I told him, I was like, listen, I really don't want to be associated with this other thing where I'm shooting for, but I can't give away this access. Can you still help me out if I want to come shoot shows? And he was like, yeah, of course, man. He's a super nice dude. So like I still got access even though I was shooting for nobody. And I was, that led to my buddy who basically got me tied into this magazine called Substream Magazine, where like it was a legit, like, these magazines were in like Barnes and Noble, and they were like, it's like a nationwide kind of like rock punk rock magazine. And once I got tied in with them, I could just be like, hey Chris, you're so and so's publicist. I shoot for Substream Magazine. Can I come shoot the show tonight? And it was like 100% every time, where like I could get into every show, and it was the best contact I could have ever gotten, and it just really helped me out. Plus, I mean, if you say you're a published photographer and you have like stuff in the stores and stuff like that, it just helps your credit, and it's really
Street
just
credit, right? So, Conrad,
yeah,
how
for
about
sure.
that for creativity, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this is amazing. Like, he's telling me stuff that I didn't really know, right? I
yeah,
see him at the high level in the rock concerts. I don't know how he got to that level, but man, hearing this, tell me that's not inspiration, right?
for
Somebody
sure.
who really had a passion, kept
Yeah.
finding his ways. It gets better, let me tell you. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
it
Yeah.
does go.
But the difference is that, Jim, you're also making it happen. We hear a lot about people, oh, nothing good ever happens to me, or no one's ever doing this, or my product's not making it. But you're not just sitting around waiting for things to happen. You're making it happen.
For sure. And I can tell you, the second part of the story now, like if you guys want to hear, like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
okay, so after the magazines and all that stuff, kind of where I was like getting access, but you're still, so if you're getting access with photo passes, you're basically showing up to the concert, you're shooting for whoever, and you get the first 3 songs in front, and then you leave. You can still watch the concert sometimes, but that's all the time that you get to photograph. You get the first 3 songs, then they usher you out, and you kind of review the show or whatever. So I got that access, and then I meet this guy who is just like, he just comes out of nowhere. His name's Jeff. He's been my friend since then, and basically he runs social medias for like bands and stuff, which is like, if you want extra, I don't even know. So there's 2 different worlds. There's the photo pass world, and then there's the actual working for the band world, which is like, all access, which is like where the crazy stuff gets, like, where you're like, you're like, holy crap. Now I'm like working
Wait,
with these
Jim, there's
guys.
crazy stuff that happens with bands.
No, I mean, not even like crazy like that, but crazy in your mind where you're like, okay, I went from doing the photo pass thing where like, you don't meet the bands, you don't get any access or anything, to like, oh, hey, here's the manager and here's the guys in the dressing room, and like, like here you get to shoot the whole show, you get to be on the stage, you get to do all the crazy stuff. So I meet him, and basically he works for all these bands and he handles their socials, but you get the all access, which is like, just people just don't get that. And at the time, I just received like some money from my aunt passing away and stuff like that. And in that world, there's not like a ton of money being made. So like, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna put this all as like it's my college money or something. Like, all right, I'm gonna travel. Like, I'm getting all access to these shows that are like all over the country, but like I'm kind of having to fund a lot of it, and it's totally worth it because like, say, Chris, say if Rob Thomas is like, hey, I want you to come hang out at my show and shoot the show, but you're not going to make that much, but you're going to have all access and you're going to meet all these contacts. You're like, well, yeah, of
booked my
course.
flight.
You're going.
Exactly. And I don't like to fly, so I was driving.
Right? It's an investment on your business and you. Absolutely.
For sure. Exactly.
Wait a minute, Jim, you're driving?
Oh, you should see the miles on my car. It's like 190,000 miles right now.
I love
because I've had it.
He's a true entrepreneur.
Yeah. Like I don't, if I don't have to fly, I'll drive, which like,
wow.
If I got to be in Detroit tomorrow, I would probably leave now. But so
that's my mother. She didn't want to fly. She always wanted to drive.
Yeah. So I got to figure out a way to like a specific time to leave on a boat from California to get to your wedding, in Hawaii. But, no,
you're
I'll be okay.
First class with me, right on that seat.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. I'll be okay for it. Don't worry.
All right.
But
so here we go. So now,
yeah,
now we're progressing. Now you're making some inlays. Now you're getting
for sure.
Right now you're getting noticed a little bit. Now you're getting into all these. You got a really strong portfolio.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. Then I noticed I use this date, and let's see if you recognize it. May 23rd, 2019. You started a new job. Remember who that was with?
Oh yeah, it's Rob for sure.
Yeah, Rob Thomas.
As 20. I was working with him before then, but that was like the day that like I probably posted that on Facebook where I worked for Rob Thomas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did that happen? Because I've told you, I've been a big fan. I mean, I was running a BMW plant in the 90s, and back then I was probably working 15, 16 hours a day. No lie. I mean, even like 2 and 3 in the morning, I was getting calls. So I wasn't really listening to the radio station. And my brother Dave said, hey, you got to check out this new music by Matchbox 20. And I was thinking he meant like a car. I'm like, what do you mean? And that's when it started. I started
Matchbox 20 car.
I really loved it. And I just connected with him. And here you are now working with the guy.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So basically, to go back to my buddy Jeff. So in like 2017, he's like, do you want to go shoot Rob Thomas this weekend in Atlantic City? It's for so-and-so amount, you're all taken care of. And I was like, Rob Thomas, I've told people this. I've never been like I was never a Rob fan growing up, like in my I love like punk rock music and pop punk music. So like, when you're a kid listening to Green Day and stuff, you're not really listening to like Matchbox 20 or whatever. Yeah. So like, I knew who, obviously, Rob's super famous, so I knew who he was and knew he was a singer, but I didn't know any of his music other than like, the radio stuff, which is hits after hit after hit. But, I just didn't know anything of him. But so anyways, I go to the Borgata, I meet his like team and like this crew and like, I meet him and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's going to be like really fun. It's like just good people, like really just a cool situation. And I shoot the shows all weekend at the Borgata with them, and then it turns into like, hey, come shoot the shows next year. And then that was like 2018, and then in between 2018 and 2019 is where he was recording Chiptooth Smile. So like they asked me to come to like New York City and go to like Atlantic Records and like do all the behind the scenes stuff with him during all that whole process. So it was like really getting momentum. And after that, they were like, "Oh, do you want to go on the tour?" I was like, "Well, fuck yeah!" You know, I mean, that is like, can I swear? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't mean
man.
to. All right. So like, like, and to retrace, like, the photo passes and the working with the bands and like all that stuff was like, it was all like different levels. But like, when you're a touring photographer with like the band and the guy, I mean, it's just like the hardest mountain to like. It's like, you can be here and think you're like so high up doing like all these shows, but the touring world is just like, you really got to get lucky or you got to be in with somebody. And it's just like, it just seemed like a whole other mountain at the peak of like all the other fun stuff. So when they asked that, I was like, oh my God, this is what I needed. This is like, this was my next step. This is like, you know, to go forward. And, everything else was just, it was crazy. That's exactly what I needed,
Wow.
and
But
I was,
Jim, this is like,
And honestly,
it's
just to
fun.
see those pictures.
oh, it's crazy.
like,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
My best friend, like my best friend from Pittsburgh, my dude, you're the almost famous. Like, it's, I'm really just a dork with a camera. That's all it is. Like that's exactly all it is. But I've been thrown into these situations now where it's not even like believable sometimes, where it's, probably like Chris, probably to Chris, where you're like,
Mhm.
where you're an inventor or like doing what you're doing. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm on like Good Morning America 5 times, like where it almost like feels normal, which is like almost even crazier, where it's like, wow, I'm just, I'm just
It's
rock.
funny because the woman asked me, like that's what you just said, right? The woman asked me, like being from Waterbury, like, and now being on a TV program that's going to see 10 million viewers.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a kid that was 13 years old who was an engineer. I worked
Yeah.
hard my whole life, and I just kept finding ways. And the little bit what
sure.
Carmine said, you made it for yourself. I feel like sometimes I made it happen as well. But I always say, and my kid always tells me this: good things happen to good people. Jim,
Yeah,
you're a
for
good
sure.
guy, and you're like. So
And
I mean, it does happen. But when did you finally sit down? You get home and you sit down and go, "Is this really happening? Am I really doing
yes.
tours with Matchbox 20 and Rob Thomas? Is this really happening? When did that
You know-
happen?"
I mean, that happened like probably the first couple days, of the tour, where like, I mean, like I was in bands when I was a kid, like in my 20s. And like the whole dream is to only hope that you can go on tour with like a tour bus. I mean, that's like, it's just like the ultimate dream. Like I could not, when I was in a band, and if we would ever got a tour and like had a tour bus and like, fans, it's not even real life. So like to be put in this situation, capturing Rob doing it, it was, I appreciated it every night. I would watch Abby, I'd watch Abby and I'd watch Chris Trapper, and I'd just be like, wow. I was like, during Rob, I'd be more in show mode where I'm like trying to think of where to get like shots, or like trying to think of how to make it look different. Or, my brain would be going a lot. But like in the beginning for the openers, I would just be thinking like, how did, my little dirty city ass Pittsburgh kid get here? Like
Start off with a camera.
Yeah. And that's really it.
Started
Yeah,
off with his aunt giving him a hobby. That's where
Yeah.
it started.
Yeah, and honestly, when I got the camera, I just wanted to take cool pictures for me and my buddies that were playing like roller hockey. That's basically it. And then like all the ideas started going, like I said, like of concerts and all that stuff. But yeah, the Rob. I mean, there's been so many moments where it's like it does. Like I mean, the Rob stuff is crazy. Like like I've been in a room with like Bruce Springsteen, like just filming him doing a warm up with Mike Ness of Social Distortion, where it's like, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, I don't even know how to say.
Hey, Jim, real quick. So when you make it to that point,
Yeah.
does it help you with your creativity, because you're not thinking like, oh my God, how do I make it to the next level? You're there, you're at that
For
level.
sure.
So they're allowing you to be creative, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like, it's really all about access. So like, say if you're taking pictures and you have those three, you have those three songs in the beginning of the show and you're right in front, that's all you're going to get. You're going to get like what's happening on stage, and you're going to get some stuff from the crowd maybe behind you. But, you can be the worst photographer ever, which like I might almost be. But if you put me in a room while Rob Thomas is playing acoustic guitar and just having a moment, that's a picture that nobody else is going to get. So it's going to make me look like I'm way better than I am. But really, I'm pressing a button and like, he makes it look cool.
Wow.
You're
great.
capturing the moment. Don't sell your
No.
stuff short. You're capturing some
No,
pretty cool moments, man.
I know you really.
Those pictures are amazing.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty silly with the humbleness or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, it really is all about access. It's that, and it's just like kind of feeling the vibe of like how the person is, or like thinking like what other people like, or like what other people might feel from that, and hopefully it will translate. That's how I've always done it. I've just taken pictures that I thought I would like if I was that person. I mean.
Yeah. Jim, it's funny because
photographers
and videographers have that awesome ability to make people smile. I mean, when you take all those pictures and you're showing, and they see that one picture that is just it's just probably such a great feeling, right?
It's the coolest thing in the world. And like, like I've never had a website or anything. Like I started posting my pictures on Facebook, and then people would start like commenting or being like, oh, that's really cool, that looks nice, and that like just that feedback was like, wow, this is like super cool to like, where like, sometimes the comments now are like overwhelming because it's like everybody likes a lot of it, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, I don't even know what to say anymore, but like, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm just blabbing, but
No. But it's also Chris knows this. It's a level of trust too.
Oh, for sure. What was that, Chris?
Yeah. And I say, and me like just on Facebook going through it all, yours will just pop out. And I'm like, Brandy, check this picture out.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. You just did one the other day of the sunset.
Oh, that was crazy.
I didn't even like pop it. Wow, it was so damn nice.
Wow.
That sunset was crazy. That was just I think that was 2 nights ago. That was great. That was a really good one. Thank you though. Thank you. Yeah, it's it's really crazy. Like
Jerry Springs International, dark sky, right? That's why I saw the heading on it. Like what a cool picture.
Oh well, that was.
I don't even know. Are you framing these and selling them? Because you'd make some money just on that.
Like I've said, I've been really DIY, like people will say like, hey, I want to print. And I say, okay, send me a message. And I work it out with them, but like, I don't have a website, I don't have you can't even, I mean, I've gotten everything basically word of mouth or like through people or like, Facebook, like, as goofy as Facebook is sometimes with like all the drama, I've always used it as like, if I post a picture of you, all of your people who don't know me are going to see it, so like, or wait, no,
Right.
But like, it's such a good way to market yourself if you know how to like do it, and it's really gotten me everything,
right.
I legit don't have I don't have a website or anything,
That's so funny.
Crazy. So Carmine, check this out. So when I first met Jim, I didn't know him, right? I went to a concert in Atlanta, and I'm telling you, it was the hottest and most humidity I've ever seen at a concert because it was down low. And I was sitting next to him, and I saw him doing his magic, his work. And it's just funny how we met because then Brandy said, I said, hey, listen, like, wouldn't he be the perfect guy for our wedding? And we already got it promoted on Good Morning America twice. They want to cover it live when we get married. How about having Jim? So she reached out to him. That's how I met Jim.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't even know how you took pictures that night. I couldn't even hold a beer.
Oh my!
It was so humid. It was like I literally would drink it and sweat it out. That's how humid it was. It was insane.
There was a string of from like I for some reason I can't remember the Atlanta show that well, but like from Atlanta to like Alabama to Florida was like the hottest shows ever. We're like just dripping. My camera was like overheating. Like it was crazy. So the only thing I remember, a funny story. The only thing I remember about Atlanta was we stayed there like we stayed in some hotel. I think it was the Westin downtown or something like that. And I went down to get like a soda and like some chips, and it was like $19. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, I was like, I don't even want it. So then I walked across.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Yeah, I was like, it was legit Doritos and a Diet Coke, and it was like $22. And I was like,
Oh
all right,
my
well,
God.
I walked across the street to Cheesecake Factory and got a burger for whatever. But I was just that's the only thing I remember about the Atlanta place is like that Atlanta hotel was
That's funny. Well, I can see that you travel so much that a lot of that stuff kind of melts together, right?
yeah, and I have a really good memory, but like some shows, we were talking before the show, like I can't remember Atlanta, but if I looked at the pictures, I would remember it instantly. Like I'd be, oh, it's that venue,
So funny.
and that was like,
Oh, I'm sure too. I can show you. I'll send you some. I have pictures of you because I was taking a bunch of pictures that night. We were in literally the front row, right where you were sitting on the little side, and I had like my own section. There was nobody around me, and Brandy was sitting in the front row, and Rob came over and high fived her. And you're in a bunch of pictures. I even told Jim afterwards, you buy a CD, right? So they basically record it live, and you can hear Brandy screaming in it because she was in the front row. I'm like, you actually made. From screaming so loud and being so annoying, you actually made his CD.
He's on an album.
That's awesome. That's a good tip for everybody that's gonna watch us later now. So like if you're at the Rob shows and you're yelling extra loud, you're gonna be on the CD.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's a selling point right there. I just sold 500 more CDs.
No kidding. I'll tell you one other quick story, right? I actually met Rob. I had VIP pass at a Mohegan. I don't know. This is probably 5 years ago. And
Mohegan Sun?
There was a Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. I actually had VIP passes. So I had a chance to spend some time with his publicist and just talking to him a little bit, told him how much we appreciated him and how much we can relate to him and loved his music. He did a lot of videos of us talking to Rob. And I was asking, like, how can I meet him? And he's like, come on, do you know how many people want to meet him? I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. How do I meet him? So we hung out most of the night, for like I say, most of the night before we went into the concert. About an hour. So then the concert's going on. We're like 3/4 away through, me and Brandy coming back from getting a beer. And I see Rob coming down and he's singing. And we're like in the first section with an aisle. So it's wide open and we're in the front row. He's walking towards us. And I'm like, Brandy. And like, I guess she didn't even hear me. I'm like, Rob's walking towards us. And like, he's literally walking towards us. Put the bear down, I'm getting my camera ready. I can't miss any of these shots, right?
Of course.
There's some serious pressure.
Yeah.
Comes over, he's singing. He's out of heart breaks, gives me a hug, high five, literally grabs Brandy. Security surrounds us, spotlight. He sings the entire song to her, stands on a chair afterwards. I have a video of him. It was so like awesome. Coolest experience ever. I mean, she's like, what just happened? And he comes across as that kind of guy, like a really cool dude.
He's basically the nicest dude ever. Like, yeah, but like, I mean, I've told him, I would tell him this on the tour, like probably every 5 or 6 days. I'd see him, like we'd be like, I'd just see him like, we'd kind of be hanging out somewhere like where like more like one-on-one, and I'd be like, Rob, I'd be like, dude, thank you so much, man. I honestly can't thank you enough. This isn't real. Like, this is just the craziest experience of my whole life. I say this every week, but thank you so much. And he's like, just take it for what it is, and just have fun, and you deserve to be here, and like, it's just the coolest dude ever. And to go to your thing about meeting him, like Rob is like, Rob is super easy to meet and super hard, I would say, like from a fan perspective, like he's, like you said, obviously he's hard to get to, and everybody wants to meet him and stuff like that, but he's so normal where he could just walk, like he'd be walking down the street to like somewhere, and it'd be before a show, and he's walking with like his security and stuff like that, but like that's where you got to meet him, was where he's just like kind of like on the way and just kind of like, hey, and a gesture is always better. It's like I've always thought, like I heard that when I was really young, like rather than go up and be like, oh, hey, can you sign this, or can you do the just be like, hey, have a good show, man. And like I've done that with so many, like there's a part of me where like I've met people and I'm like, fuck, I should have got a picture with that, like something like that. But I just was like, hey, have a good show, man. Just love your music.
Yeah, you gotta know when to do that, right, and when not to. Like there's a time and place for all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Like, like for sure. And it's weird. Like I can totally, being on the side that I was for the tour, and like, being so close with him and stuff like that, I can see, I can see both sides now. So, but I'm still a fan, and like I know if I was at Green Day and I saw Billy Joe walk out, I'd like, I'd probably shit my pants. So like, I know the fan aspect,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, like I've gotten to meet everybody except Billy Joe from Green Day. And, when I do, I probably might cry or I might, crap my pants, but at least he'll remember me.
Hey,
But I think that's what makes it so special, right? It's like, I always felt like when I met like Robin Roberts, I met her in a grocery store in 1990. She was just getting out of college and playing hoop and on ESPN, and she's with her parents. And I went up to her and introduced myself and just said, like you said, I said, hey, Robin, I just want to tell you, I watch you every Sunday. Absolutely love your show. And then she started to engage with me. She introduced me to her parents. Fast forward 25 years later, I'm doing a national commercial with her, and Brandy's like, she's never going to remember you. Don't even ask her. I said, well, I'm gonna. So we get on the stage and I'm talking to her, and Brandy goes, oh God, here we go. He's been talking about this for 7-8 years. And she goes, I know what he's going to ask. I know right where we met. It was at A&P in Bristol, Connecticut. And I don't just introduce anybody to my parents.
For sure.
She remembered, and she started crying. Brandy started crying. She tweeted me later. It was so good seeing you. I'll never forget you meeting my parents. So it was like, wow, how surreal is that? The sweetest woman ever.
Yeah. And it's really crazy. It's just like, like just being on both sides. It's like, it's crazy. It's like Rob is such a normal dude. So it's like, you see it from his end where it's like, he just wants to like hang out with his dog and like, walk around with his wife and just be normal. But then at the same time, you can like look at the fan perspective where like, some of his songs have probably like help people through the darkest of times or like change their life or like help them. So like it's like you can understand how somebody could like break down meeting that person, which it's really cool either way. It's he's such a nice dude. I know he like, and he loves his fan, like he loves he loves the fans. So like, and he's the nicest guy. Like if you can meet him, he'll never turn you away. Like he's just the nicest dude. I spent 3 months with him every day. I don't have one bad thing to say. He's, the nicest dude.
And he's got a great story too, right? His story is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I followed that story. It's unbelievable. And you're right. His music I can relate to. Like, I feel like some of the songs he wrote were for me and Brandy sometimes. I'm not kidding.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I was in his life at some point.
Yeah.
That's how cool it is.
And like, I didn't learn his story after, I didn't know his story up until like working with him more, like it's so cool to like see that story. I can tell you that, I mean, this is the most ridiculous story ever about how much I know of Rob and Matchbox. So like in the middle of the tour, he starts doing sound checks with Ben, the Matchbox song. And he's just playing it acoustic. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a cool song. It must be a new song. So I see him later at catering. And I'm like, Rob, that song you were doing acoustically, it was really cool. Is that a new song? And he just looked at me. He's like, that's bent. That's like 20 years old. That's a Matchbox song. I was like, oh shit. I was like
1996 or something.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
on the map.
Yeah. So like, I mean, and I've told him, I was like, I didn't know a lot of that. I didn't know that stuff up, in those days. So I was just like, oh, it sounded really cool, but we got a good laugh out of it. And everybody I tell that to, that's actually a Rob or Matchbox fan is like, but I like that song. I like Bent. I like Rob. I think I like Rob's version more than the Matchbox version, where it's just him playing it by himself acoustically. Yeah. It's like real, I don't know. It's just really good. I don't know.
Yeah. And I've had an opportunity to go to, we've seen them both, Rob Thomas and Matchbox. And I've had an opportunity to take my kids with me. So you talk about pretty cool, like my kids who are 28 and 23 really like him, right? So he to that whole generation, old and new. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So let's talk about hockey. You're a big hockey guy. You grew up in Pittsburgh. Who do you follow? The Flyers, your team?
No.
Oh, Penguins.
Yeah. It's funny. I work for the Flyers, but I'm obviously a Penguins fan. I work for the Flyers affiliation. So like they're called the Phantoms. But it's hockey. You get paid to watch hockey. I've loved hockey my whole life.
Yeah, and you're taking some pretty cool pictures of that, right? So you've got yourself now at a pretty high level with a really cool portfolio. It all started out with your aunt saying you need to get you a hobby.
Yeah, and you know, if I could, I'll tell you the hockey story real quick.
Mhm.
So I started working for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, which is the AHL, the minor league team of the Flyers. I started working for them as soon as I got my camera, like that same era, 2015. And I was like, man, if I stick with this team, you know, I think it will get me into the NHL, which is like, you know, you just can't get NHL photo passes. Like,
Right.
you know, you just can't unless you're like Getty or Associated Press or, you know, New York Times, you know, those kind of people. So, you know, a couple years ago, I got the contact for the Flyers, the media relation guy. And I remember I was sitting at KFC eating chicken nuggets, and I was just like, I'm going to
That's
email
the
this
most
guy.
important
And
call
just,
of his life.
yeah. I was sitting there eating chicken fingers, and I was like, I'm going to email this guy and just ask him if I can get a photo pass to the game tonight. Just, you know, because in the world of this whole stuff, sometimes just asking is half the battle, and you'd be surprised what you get just asking.
Don't ask,
But
don't get.
Right.
yeah. So like when I was just like, you know, I've worked my way up. I know people now through the organization. I was like, I got this guy's contact. I'm just gonna ask. And there was the Flyers playing the Florida Panthers, and I was just like, you know, hey, so and so, you know, I work for Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I don't have any association with anybody, but is there any way I can come shoot the game tonight? You know, like, which, you know, you basically got a photo pass to shoot these professional athletes, and you're not shooting for anybody, but you know, why not ask? And he was like, yeah, sure, come on down. And
Wow.
you know, to fast forward now to, you know, last week, you know, I got to shoot the Penguins versus the Flyers, you know, my home team that I've like, that was the whole goal. When I got my camera, when I worked for the organization, I was like, it'd be the coolest thing in the world to just take pictures of the Penguins, maybe, you know, like, why, you know, same thing as the bands. Like, how do you, you know, if you don't know anybody, if you can't get in, if you don't know anything. So basically, I just shot two NHL games last week for nobody except myself, and you know, just because of the contact and the generosity and like how they're, you know, just the relationship we've made through this guy. And he's like, yeah, of course, I'll get you in. And you know, it's just sometimes it's just that crazy. Like,
Wow.
you know,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
you know,
Come on, he's my idol, man. Tell me that's not pretty
I'm-
cool, right? Like he's
Yeah.
not with Getty, he's not with Associated
No.
Press. He's with
Nobody.
Jim.
No,
Yeah.
nobody.
Man,
I
going
was-
in and doing his thing.
So I'm talking
Love it.
to my buddy on the way home from shooting the game that night. And you know, my best friend Mike in Pittsburgh, and he's a photographer as well. He's like the best wedding photographer. Like if you really wanted a good wedding photographer, you would hire him. But you're asking me to.
No,
But
I'm not asking anybody, just you, buddy. You're on the list, nobody else.
thank you. But you just shooting for yourself there? And I was like, yeah, dude. I'm just like, you know, I'm just stoked to post them on Facebook tomorrow. He's like, and he just starts cracking up, you know. It's like, but you know, it's like if you know, I'm just rambling on about stuff.
No, but this is what an entrepreneur does, right? A good entrepreneur, and Carmine hit on it early, make things happen. I mean, even when I was in New York, Brandy, at one point, I was taking a lot of pictures. She said, dude, you got to stop. You're being a stalker. And I'm like, no, I got plans. I have an idea of what I want to do. And then I just kept following through on it. And it's just, I think that's all part of it, right? Is being able to have a vision of what you
Hello?
want
Oh, there we are.
and then doing it. And that's what an entrepreneur does. And Jim, you've taken that to a pretty cool level, and you're a good dude on top of it. It makes it even that much better.
Yeah, you know, I always kind of just done that. Like, you know, I'm not really a dick to people. I don't have like an ego. I don't have like, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm just a dork with a camera. If you like my stuff, I'll totally show up and I'll take some pictures. But yeah,
Awesome.
I'm not. It's all how you treat people. And it's all connections, and it's gotten me everything. You know, like I said, I don't have a website, but you know, people reach out and people like.
So how do we find you? How do people listening get a hold of you? They want to do a wedding, or they want to do a graduation shoot, or a sports event shoot with you. How do they get a hold of you?
You know, you can just you can find me on Instagram. It's just Hurley, Hurley twice, or just look me up on Facebook, Jim Trocchio. You know, like send me a friend request, send me a message. You know, I'm not really hard to get a hold of.
Yeah,
And
reach out to me, right? Chris.
yeah,
Guerrera
of course, yeah.
or-
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
all it is. It's all connections. Like, if you want me for something, just message if you're friends of Chris or message of Carmine. It's that's how I've gotten everything. Like,
Awesome.
crazy as it is.
It's awesome. Hey, Jim, real quick. First off, being a dork with a camera, just remember Bill Gates was a nerd with a computer, so it all adds up. But
Oh,
the question, real quick question, before we go, I know we're running out of time. Was there ever a shot that you missed or didn't get that you could think of, like, oh my God, I should have got that, or you were? Because me, I'd be in such awe sometimes that I'd forget to take pictures.
For sure. You know what? So, I mean, this is yeah, for sure. So this ain't even relating to my photography world now. When in 1999, I went to my very first Warped Tour, which was like, if you don't know what the Warped Tour is, it's like a lot of punk rock bands, like, like Blink-182 was playing. They were my favorite band. They're still like one of my favorite bands. So I'm with my little Kodak camera. That's like, just total dog shit when trying to take pictures, but especially in a crowd. So I'm in the middle of this mosh pit and I'm holding my camera up to get a shot of the bass player. And he like jumped and he looked right at me and I snapped the shot and it was fucking blurry. And I was like, oh my God. When I got the when I got the pictures back, the Mark Hoppus, the bassist of Blink-182, looked right at me and jumped and just gave me a smile, and the damn picture was blurry. And
Man.
So and then so the end of the day, after moshing and watching all our favorite bands, me, my sister, my mom, my cousin, we're walking out of the venue, like down this big driveway, and we see Tom, the other singer of Blink-182. So we run over to him and we're like, hey, what's up, Tom? Blah, 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 blah. And I thought I had 0 pictures left in this shitty camera that was blurry anyways. So we met Tom and it would have been amazing to get a picture with him. We totally could have. And I thought the thing was at 0, no pictures left. So we meet him, we're walking on the thing, whatever. And then I hit it in my pocket and the flash goes off. There was 1 picture left in the thing that I could have got a picture with my one of my idols, Tom. And it's a picture of my damn shorts. So no offense to Kodak, but
now you know the pressure I was under to take those pictures of Robin Brandy when he was singing to her.
Right?
Massive pressure.
Oh my God, yeah. So so yeah, no offense to Kodak, but I'm glad they're gone.
Yeah. No doubt.
But
you got those pictures developed. You were looking for that one picture that was blurry.
I 1,000%. I remember I was like, he looked right at me and he jumped and I snapped it and it was blurry and I still have it. It's somewhere at home, but it was just
you send that in your resume of pictures.
Yeah, all this stuff,
one that got away.
Yeah, I've done, if I've probably missed some shots in the last 5 years or 6 years, but that's the one I remember. 1999 Pittsburgh Warped Tour.
That's it.
I blew it. He looked right at me.
Based on the pictures I've seen, you got some pretty good ones, so that'll cover up that.
He made up for it.
Yeah, for sure. I still, and I've gotten to shoot Blink-182 a couple of times now.
That's great.
In this life, so I didn't get that jump shot though, so I'm still pissed.
Well, Jim, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate you coming on. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna have a bunch
thanks
more
for having me.
We're gonna have our wedding and all that other stuff. We're gonna be able to do together. I'll send you the invite to the Shark Tank airing.
I'm excited to see you on Shark Tank.
I really, really, really appreciate your whole story, man. I mean, it truly is what this show's about: entrepreneurship in the USA, right?
Yeah.
What you did with an opportunity of getting a camera and learning it and taking it to this professional level. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really just buy a camera, watch YouTube, and be nice to people, and it might just work out for it.
Very cool.
Basically,
all right, man. Very cool. We're gonna wrap up the show, Jim. This has been so much fun. I mean, just hearing these stories, I love it. What I love about it is kind of like what Chris said, being nice to people, going after your dreams. Don't sit back and wait. You're making it happen. and you're meeting some pretty cool people to boot. So I think it's really cool. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Chris. Thanks for having him on. And remember, everyone, May 21st, Shark Tank. Make sure you watch the show. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see your outfit, Chris.
Oh yeah, wait till you see it.
I can't wait.
Can't reveal anything. Gotta tune in.
Oh man, good luck, buddy. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
All right, very cool. All right, everyone, you take care, and we will catch you next time on Made in America. Bye.